I used to think the green ring on Instagram was harmless, just another tiny light in a sea of tiny lights. At work it felt like background noise, no different from the hum of the espresso machine or the buzz of fluorescent bulbs. Then one night the ring lit up with my workplace name on it, a little pill that said exactly where I stood. In daylight, that felt like nothing. After closing, it felt like a stranger breathing down the back of my neck. This is not a ghost story. It is what happens when a feature becomes a footprint, and the footprint leads from a screen to a doorstep. If you post at work, if you watch your own stories from behind a counter, and tell yourself you are careful, listen to the way this goes. 5 of us learned the same lesson, and the first time it happened to me, I nearly missed it. I am 19, a closer at a neighborhood grocery store with a coffee counter inside. The kind of job where your hands smell like oranges and sanitizer at the same time. Our manager lets us use our phones if no one is in line. I would post sleepy snapshots at the end of shift, the shine of the floor I just mopped, the empty fruit pyramids, the last receipt curling out of the printer. A week before it got loud, I noticed a viewer with a nonsense handle. They never followed me. They never liked anything. But there I was first on every story the second it went up. I told myself it was a bot. I blocked and forgot. The next evening, for minutes before we locked the doors, a new account with the same chaotic letters followed me. And right after that, a note popped at the top bar with a glowing green ring. It had a location tag that spelled the store's name exactly as it appears on my badge. Added 1 minute ago. I set the mop back in the bucket like it weighed 50 pounds and made myself finish closing. I did not tell anyone because saying it out loud felt like handing it authority. I clocked out, texted my roommate I was heading to the bus, and sat under the flickering ad panel that always makes everyone look sick. The DM request hit while I was pretending to scroll. It was a dot, then a green ring on their profile, close friends, and 2 slides. The first was the back of my head at the bus stop with the word hi written over my hood. The second was a shot for car window, street lights bending on the glass, my building 3 blocks ahead. I typed, "Who are you?" They replied follow for follow and posted a new note with my street spelled perfectly. My roommate answered my call on the first ring and told me to keep walking, not to turn, to let her voice fill my other ear. I walked and counted breaths like I was back at the doctor. The DM came again while I was at our door. "Lonely? Need company?" With a smiling face, the kind that looks like a mask when you are not smiling back. The handle on the outside twisted like someone testing if the wood would give. I shouted her name, and the deadbolt slid home with a sound that felt bigger than our apartment. We called the police. I sent one more message to keep them slowed, that I would come down, that we could talk. The account went to Instagram user. They had blocked me. The officers swept, took a report, and shrugged at how open the street was. I started paying for ride shares and let the night buses empty without me. I am 22, working closing shifts at a boutique in a mall where the music is too bright and the air smells like perfume tests. The first time I saw the green ring, it looked friendly. The account claimed to be a campus fashion blog, asking to repost my outfits. I followed back because they had tagged a few people I recognized. That made us mutuals, which meant I could see their notes. I did not know that mattered until one appeared at 8:41 p.m., 1 minute old, with my store's name in the location bar. I looked up onto the floor like the letters might be walking around without faces. The corridor was thinning for the night. A man stood at the railing, tall, hands in pockets, watching nothing in particular. I pretended to fold scarves and waited for him to leave. The note vanished. When a new one appeared, it said loading dock. That is behind our stockroom door. I locked the stockroom and told my coworker I needed the restroom so she could stay on the floor while I checked the back. The hallway lights back there always hum, and every scuff echoes like you are walking inside a drum. I pressed my ear to the metal of the dock door and heard soft steps on the other side, the scratch of rubber on concrete, a phone chime that did not belong to me. I called mall security while I was still listening. The note blinked again, this time with my exact corridor labeled, like the person wanted me to know they could label. A knock landed low on the metal. Not a bang. A suggestion. I pictured someone's head leaned against their phone, the camera pressed to paint. Security arrived with a gentle urgency that made me want to cry in relief. We opened the door to an empty loading bay and a slow camera on a tripod still recording a gray wall. The account vanished 30 seconds later, like a chalk line washed by rain. I went private that night. What scared me most wasn't the empty bay. It was knowing they wanted me to see their certainty. The mall taught me a note can be a map. The hospital taught me it can be a metronome. Tick, 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 keeping time with your route when you wish nobody else knew it. I am 24, a night shift nurse in a wing that hums even when the lights are low. Between 10 and 2, the hospital becomes a different animal. Monitors blink like patient constellations. The floor wax smell is colder. Phones still chirp, but quieter in apology. I don't post patients. HIPAA lives in my bones, but I share the ghost parts of shift, an empty corridor, a cup ring beside a stethoscope, a sunless clock. The first green ring appeared when I was charting a new account with a soft, pretty profile picture and a bio about healthcare heroes. Mutuals with 2 coworkers I half knew from orientation. I followed back because it felt like support. I didn't know I was opening a door that would close behind me. Notes blinked to life. A green ring above their avatar, 1 minute old. The location pill said our hospital's full name, exact like a mail label. I told myself it was a volunteer, a family member of a patient. Then it changed. Triage B. 2 minutes later, cafeteria. My shift lead radioed about a visitor wristband gone missing, and I felt my scalp get tight like my hair was listening. The ring pulsed again, south elevator. I stared at the screen and mentally traced that path. Whoever it was orbiting our floor like a moth that already knew the light sources. I couldn't leave my station. I messaged the account. Do I know you? It read immediately. No reply. At 1:38 a.m., my break started. I walked with my buddy nurse to the cafeteria because rules, because pairs, because all the stories we share after midnight begin with someone deciding to go alone. The note popped fresh. P2 garage. My heart stepped out of my chest and looked over the railing. I called security and asked for an escort when my break ended. We ate like people pretending to be hungry. When it was time to go, the guard met me at the staff elevator and walked me through the garage. The concrete makes your footsteps sound like they're trying to catch you. My car looked ordinary until I saw the napkin beneath the wiper. Inside, in tidy handwriting, someone had written, "Good stamina tonight." Then a winky face. I checked Instagram with fingers that didn't feel like mine. The account's latest note said good night, location cleared. When we pulled camera footage later, the angles were wrong. The lanes we needed were blind. I changed everything I could change and stayed on days for a while. Even now, if I pass the south elevator, I feel like I'm walking beside a shadow I can't name. I am 29, the last person in a downtown library that still believes in quiet. Closing is a ritual. I walk the stacks like I'm tucking them in, lights going dark by aisle, the carpet whispering secrets into my shoes. Instagram is my small rebellion, a book spine here, a sun puddle there, the library's cat pretending not to hunt dust. Our account is public because we're supposed to be inviting. I had barely posted the 5 minutes to close story when a green ring haloed a profile I didn't recognize. The note said level 3 stacks. I was on level 3. I told myself it was a patron making a joke. Then the note changed to 300s, which is social sciences. Nobody who doesn't live in libraries talks like that. I stepped to the end of the row. The stacks do this thing where they turn one person into 3 in the reflection of each long, glossy cover. There was only me. The note changed. Reference desk. I went there, past the returns chute that breathes like a sleeping animal. No one stood at the desk. My phone vibrated again. Children's room. Down 2 flights. The murals smiling the way cartoons smile when they don't mean it after dark. The door was locked from my side. Through the circle cutout, I saw only a chair and a scattered pile of blocks. I listened, holding my breath like it might tell me a secret. Nothing. I called campus security. Stay by a locked door, the dispatcher said, and that sentence made me want to laugh and cry at the same time. The notes started to flip faster. Auditorium. Periodicals. Staff kitchen. A tour that knew the bones of the place. The officers arrived, ghosts in soft-soled shoes. We did a sweep. In a map room, on the long table where people unfold countries, someone had left a call slip. It was for a book about surveillance tactics from 1999. The slip had my name neatly copied at the top. The account vanished as we found it. Security walked me to the curb, and we locked the big glass doors together. In the last slice of light, I could see my reflection, and behind it, the street. A minute after I got in my car, a new account's note appeared, front door. I watched the library from half a block away and saw a shape lean into the glass, then leave, too casual to be harmless. I stared at the green ring until it went gray. I am 30, a receiving lead in a warehouse that sleeps all day and wakes after 10. The docks are mouths. The forklifts are teeth. Instagram was a joke between me and the crew, videos of pallet jack ballet, a time-lapse of us turning chaos into symmetry. The green ring found us on a Tuesday when we were short-staffed and the radios were crackling with impatience. Dock 4, the note said. Then, 2 minutes later, ramp by 3. We cleared 3 and 4. A new account appeared the second we blocked the first, notes dropping like breadcrumbs. Break room. Office. I felt exposed in a place designed to stack and hide. The crew got jumpy, which is when mistakes happen. I decided to flip the board. I made a burner account and turned on notes. I posted a location that wasn't true, Dock 1, with a little coffee emoji I always use. My friend in the booth watched cameras like he was playing chess. 10 minutes later, a skinny figure in a hoodie slipped toward Dock 1. Phone up, filming. Security moved in with a soft-footed speed I will always be grateful for. He bolted, caught a toe, fell against a pallet, and stayed still in the way people do when they realize the rules are real. He wasn't a monster. He was 17, shaking, breath like a harmonica reed, mumbling about a challenge to hunt the green ring and prove you could get behind the scenes. His phone was open to notes. There were saved drafts naming places he'd never been. He kept saying it was content. We kept saying it was a job, and that people bled here if they didn't pay attention. The cops called his parents. We didn't press charges. The point is not that he was a kid. The point is that every story feels the same until it finally doesn't. Across 5 nights and 5 jobs, the feature never changed. A ring, a note, a location, a presence. The contrast is always time. In daylight, a location is useful. After close, it's a knock. We learn to treat it that way. We learn to ask a coworker to walk. To keep our accounts boring in the ways that matter. To be friendlier to silence than to validation. If a green ring lights up with your workplace's name on it, and your gut feels smaller, believe the smaller. The platform will not make your choices for you. The screen is not a door. It only teaches people where to find one.